Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Poonam Mehta. I'm a human design coach, and in today's video, I will be talking about the strategy of waiting to respond or wait to respond and inform in case of a generator or a manifesting generator. So if that is your strategy, then be sure you watch this video in its entirety and subscribe to my channel. Before I get started, if you're someone who is interested in learning about your human design and not just at the surface level, but more in depth in the different layers that human design has to offer, then I offer something that is known as a human design primer. Human design primer is this amazing PDF reading that you get that goes into the details and the intricacies of your design. A good human design reading is going to look at not just the superficial aspects of your design, but the different layers of your design. However, this kind of a reading is going to need multiple readings because there is so much to digest within human design. What the human design primer does is, in a very low cost way, it is going to give you all this information, and you can choose to dive into the aspects that you're ready to handle right now. What I tell my clients is that get your primer, look at the things one by one, then go into the different layers, such as your planets, your lines, your variables, one after the other. So you learn your human design in a slow yet effective way, handling all the different aspects and elements of your human design. So if you're someone who's interested in that type of a primer, then I'm going to leave a link for that in the description box down below. And it's going to be one of the very amazing investments that you can make for yourself. You can really start to understand who you are as a person and the different intricacies and the nuances to you. In addition to that, if you're someone who struggles with following your strategy and authority, and you're interested in getting on this path of deconditioning and really unraveling the full potential that your human design has to offer, then I also offer something that's known as a Reiki deconditioning infusions. These infusions have been designed in order for you to get used to starting to use your own strategy and authority. We have been trained to be like a manifester where we just initiate things and we almost forget that we have this amazing tool of strategy and authority that we can use. These infusions are going to help you do just that, where once you start listening to them, your brain is going to start getting rewired, and your brain is going to almost warn you that, hey, listen, you're initiating, stop initiating. You're here to wait to respond, or you're here to wait to respond and inform, and it's going to give you those cues. So if that is something you're interested in, then be sure you download that using the link down below. All right, so with that, let's get started into the generator and a manifesting generator strategy of wait to respond and wait to respond and inform in the traditional and the non-traditional sense. So what does wait to respond or wait to respond and inform means? As a generator, we have an open and enveloping aura. Before I get into that, we have always been taught that we should initiate, which is that the minute you get an idea, you should take action, right? Like at work, at school, everywhere, people want people who initiate things. So that is something that has been considered to be good in our society. So we have been conditioned to be good and to initiate things. However, what human design tells us is that only 10% of the population, which is only manifestors, are here to initiate. We are all not here to initiate. Why? Because it is not our strategy. And when we do something that is not aligned to our strategy, we are going to be met with a lot of resistance in our life. So what that means in case of a generator or manifesting generator, we're going to end up using our life force energy in an endeavor that is not going to pan out in the correct way. It is not going to give us the outcome that we desire, and we're going to end up experiencing our not self theme, which is frustration and anger. This happens when you don't listen to your strategy, when you're not utilizing your strategy before you enter something new. So, what does wait to respond mean? I think one of the most common misconceptions I've heard is a generator saying that, so what, I'm just going to sit around and wait for something to respond to? No, this is not a projector invitation. This is just wait to respond. And what that means is that you're waiting to respond, not to people, but to life around you. It could be people, but you're really waiting to respond to life around you. As a generator and manifesting generator, we have this very open and enveloping aura. So because we have this very open and enveloping area, and because we exude life, people can see, because of our sacral center, people can see that we have the energy to get things done. We have that energy, that sustainable sacral energy, that renewable sacral energy through which we can get things done. And because of that, we're going to see things around us that demand energy of us. That's what you're responding to. You're responding to all these different things that need our energy. And then your authority is discerning on whether or not you should be doing this thing or not, whether I should say yes to this thing or whether I should say no to this thing. Now, I have a separate video on authority. I don't want to go into authority into this video because there's nuances to it, especially if you're a generator or a manifesting generator. It works a little differently. There's a lot of different elements when it comes to authority. And I think a lot of people at the start of the human design, they mistake their authority, especially when it comes to listening to their emotional authority or sacral authority. So I highly recommend listening to that video. I'm going to leave that link in the description box down below. Right? But when it comes to waiting to respond, that's what you're doing. You are really responding to life around you. Anything that comes in your external periphery, anything that's physical. What Raoul was trying to say is don't respond to your ideas, because your ideas are coming from your head. They're coming from a conditioned place. You could be so freaking frustrated in your life, and then out of that frustration, there's an idea that's birthed, and sometimes you're responding to those ideas, and that is not going to be correct for you. You are here to respond to what's external to you and then say yes or no to it. So you could respond to things such as sounds, it could be signs, it could be people. So, for example, right now when I came down, I see this vitamin in front of me. So that is begging for me to respond to it. Should I take this vitamin? Mm-mm. Or mm-hmm. Right now it's mm-hmm for me, which means that I am here to take this vitamin. It's okay for me to take this vitamin right now. That's how I make decisions for myself. For big decisions, I follow my authority in a more detailed way, and I have that in the authority video. But it really it's super simple. And I think because it's so super simple, we make it complicated because generators and manifesting generators like complicating things sometimes. And we sometimes, because we have the energy to do things, we sometimes do too much and we misuse the energy. And that's where we get into that not self theme of frustration and anger. So what you will also notice that sometimes the things that you're responding to, they may not be directly linked to the things that you desire, and that's okay. This is not about manifesting as in law of attraction. This is about getting to a better quality of life. It is getting to ease, it is getting to flow. And whatever that you're responding to in a positive way, it is going to make your life that. And eventually, as it makes your life into that, the things that you're desiring are going to work out for you as well in the best possible way. Sometimes the things that you desire are not going to be the best for you, but an alternative that you may not have even considered is going to be better for you and still get you to the same outcome that you desire, right? And using your strategy and authority to guide you there is going to be a game changer because it's going to help you get there, but in an easier way, in a sustainable way, in a way that you're not leaving your life behind in order to blindly chase a goal. I've been in my human design experiment for a couple of years now, and a lot of times when I have followed my strategy and authority, and made decisions, sometimes initially it felt like, oh man, what did I do? I wish I didn't do it. But in the long term, it always worked out for me. And the more immediate responses for me have been the instances where I did something despite my strategy and authority saying no, because I just wanted to do that thing so bad, because I thought it would give me the thing that I desired. And right away, I knew that I made a wrong decision. It has happened to me more times than I can count. I had this one job interview where everything was great on paper. And when they offered me the job, like literally, I felt my sacral drop. It was such a clear no for me. I still remember it so clearly. And despite that, I ended up taking that job for certain egotistical reasons. And they ended up being the worst years of my life. I had a lot of health problems. I just ended up on a bad path because of that job. And it was because of my stubbornness, because I did not listen to my strategy and authority. And sometimes you need those lessons, right? You need those lessons in order to learn. You're going to have the same instances where you will make a wrong decision and you're going to, hindsight's 2020, you're going to feel like, oh man, I wish I listened to my sacral. So that is going to happen with you as well. But once you have those learning lessons, you will see that your life changes for better. And keep in mind, right, with whenever you respond to things, especially for big life decisions, sometimes things are going to get hard before they get easy. It doesn't mean that your strategy and authority were wrong. It's because there is going to be an adjustment period. At the start of any new thing, there's always a contraction. There is more energy that's required because you're starting something new. It's the gate 60, the gate 60 of limitation, the gate 3 of new beginnings. There is going to be a bit of, it's like when a child is trying to learn how to tie their shoes. It is so hard at the beginning, but now as you're grown up, it is so easy. The start of anything is always a little bit challenging, and you just have to push through, stay with it, and eventually it gets better because it is something that your strategy and authority are aligned on. Now, I want to get into something that is not really talked in the traditional human design world, and it is not something that Ra Uruhu discussed, and something that I experiment with. So I would like to share it with you if it and invite you if that is something that you would consider experimenting with for yourself. I'm someone who has been a student of intuition. I've been trained in intuition and being a psychic, so I understand my intuition very well. I can recognize when my intuition is intuition and when it is not intuition. And I remember thinking when I found human design, I was already very familiar with my intuition. I remember thinking to myself, well, do all these people have it wrong? So does that mean that a manifesting generator and a generator cannot use their intuition? And initially, when I started using human design, I did not. I just stopped using my intuition completely, right? And I don't think this was the correct way for me. Because what I learned over time is that a lot of people confuse intuition with just ideas. A lot of people try to get these ideas when they're in their frustrated state of mind and they think it's intuition and then they follow it and it ends up not going the correct way. So, what I started doing it is I have a way through which I actually get to my divine intuition and then I respond to it using my sacral authority. And it has worked out well for me, but that has been my human design experiment, right? It is like a weird way of doing it, but I feel that this divine intuition is something that my open and enveloping aura is attracting. And then my sacral gets to respond to it. But I will say this that I don't use that for big decisions at all. So what I'll do is that for my divine intuition, I'll let it come through me and say if it's a big decision, I'll say, you know what, universe, if you want me to do this thing, then show me the signs. Show me the signs in my physical reality, and when I see enough signs, I will do it if my authority says yes to it. And then sometimes I don't see signs, and sometimes I see signs everywhere. And that's my cue that, okay, now I can respond to this and I can do this thing. Again, I'm not saying this is something you have to do because it is not traditional human design, but it is worth experimenting with. But only if you are very comfortable with your intuition and you know your intuition is definitely intuition and not your conditioned mind speaking. So that is something I've tried. Gabby Bernstein, if you're familiar with her, she talks about this as well, where she was trying to make a big decision and she had an idea about something, but then she asked for universe to show her signs. She didn't see any sign day one, and then suddenly she starts seeing these owls everywhere. And she asked for owls. She's, universe, show me owls and I'll make my decision. And that's how she made her decisions. And she's a generator, right? She's here to wait to respond. And that's how she does things. So it's very interesting when you see how this plays out in people who are very successful in what it is that they do. So, yeah, with that, I'm going to give you these two ideas. And if you're someone who's just at the start of it, maybe try the traditional human design, especially I'll say maybe try just checking with your strategy and authority and say if you really feel compelled to do things, even if your authority says no to do something for small decisions, try that. Start with small decisions and see how it does not work out in your favor. And that's going to give you more and more confidence in your strategy and authority. One of the other things I would say is that especially when you're using your authority is your inner authority. It's in your body, it's your bodily intelligence. So be in your body, don't be in your head. So I would say it's almost like go in your body. I would close my eyes and focus on my sacral and then ask that yes, no question. And that will help you out a lot being in your body and not being in that headspace where if you are someone who finds that your responses keep changing and you're not an emotional authority, then that is likely the case. Your responses are changing because you're answering from your head rather than your sacral. All right. And the Reiki deconditioning infusion is going to help you out a lot as well in making sure that you don't forget about using your authority, that you always have your strategy and authority in the back of your mind. So, yeah, with that, I hope this video has helped. And let me know in the comments down below if you are new to human design, if you have experimented with your strategy and authority, especially for big decisions, and how that worked out for you. I'm really curious and I want to know how things worked out for you, or maybe they did not. Let me know and let's see if we can work through it. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.